dated and signed so that they will receive in their monthly, what do they call it? Is it a pension before talking of gratuity? That nobody is attending to their files and the thing is piling up. So in most cases, these are what we see in the system of government here in Nigeria, which is not supposed to be.
All right, we also have to speak to the lack of personnel or reduced number of personnel, not just at the Supreme Court, but Appeal Court as well, High Court as well. But beyond that, the president in the time past had recommended the incorporation of people in private practice. He was saying something about lawyers should be incorporated into the bench, to be able to be part of the judges. I wouldn't know what you think about that, because when you look at some lawyers, they're quite phenomenal. Their understanding of the judicial system is quite impressive, So the president actually thinks that they should also be incorporated into the justice system. So what do you think about that?
Of course, that has been how the system grows. All the people who are judges today, both at the highest court and what have they started as lawyers in private practice, but they have to grow through the ranks. The bulk of magistrates being appointed across different magistrate courts are lawyers in private practice who are just they don't. Many of them doesn't work with the Ministry of Justice and what have you, and they are drafted and made magistrates. From there they grow. So that's why I say that yes, we have.
So why is it difficult now? So much so that even at the Supreme Court, the names we have been hearing are the names we have been hearing for ages. We have seen them graduate from appeal level to Supreme Court level. There seems to be no new faces and new names as far as all the different levels of court are concerned.
Yes, that is how the system was made, to grow through the ranks. It's normal everywhere, but what is needed is to open up these things to get more people involved, so that it will not be so narrowed to a situation whereby sometimes it will look as if to say that we are looking for manpower when the manpower abound, but it's because they have not been fixed into the system from where they are supposed to grow through the ranks. It will be unheard of that you just appoint somebody who has been practicing as a lawyer, going to cases and represent clients. Suddenly you make him a judge of the Supreme Court. The person has to go through the rank as a High Court judge and what have you. So these things borders on years of experience. It's normal. But what we are saying is, why not open up? Get more people who will also grow through that ranks, and eventually it will accommodate more people at the top echelon, and at the same time also help in dispensation of justice, instead of all these overcrowding, elongation, and so many frustrations.
Now, comrade, this talk about some cases stopping at appeal, do you think it's possible?
Yes, ordinarily there are some cases that doesn't even need appeal in the first place. Appeal comes on board because of grievances not being satisfied. So, like now, these election cases, we've seen the effect already. These election cases that have been dependency at the appeal court level, we see so many things happening there. Yesterday I watched somebody, a legislator from Abia State House of Assembly, who was shedding tears, crying, carrying placards, lone placard along the road in Aba. My mandate which people gave to me, they have snatched it from me at the appeal court and given it to someone else from another party who they did not vote for. He was crying. And really, if you look at what happened, you don't need anybody to tell you that many people benefited from the Labour Party bandwagon. People voted for them. And now these things are being thrown out. So now the person doesn't have any other option.
That's the downside of stopping at the appeal court.
Yes, doesn't have any other option.
And so if this new call for some cases to be stopped at the appeal court, don't you think it's going to further embolden such moves?
It will. It will, honestly. It has two ways. These things are always two sides to every story, like I used to say. But to automatically shut cases out just at that appeal court level, it will have more ripple effect than
the positivity.
The negative side will outweigh the positive side.
Okay.
All right. I've also heard people urging Nigerians to seek alternative means of resolution.
Yes.
Alternative, how is it called now?
ADR, alternative dispute resolution.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering how educated are Nigerians about this, because sometimes the complaint is always about how some cases are not supposed to reach the Supreme Court or Appeal Court come to us, but we have to adjudicate in this because this is our work. But how do you tell Nigerians that you can actually resolve that land dispute with his neighbor without really going through the process of court? Who is supposed to initiate the move to make Nigerians even agree to this alternative dispute mechanism?
Well, I think this area is where the judiciary, those are the judicial system of government or level of government, need to educate the public the more. Because I discovered that most lawyers doesn't actually encourage that, because they know that is
no money.
It's spoiling business for them. But when you get to court, you see ADR now coming up, the process of interview and what have you. You see some judges actually making move, telling parties involved to explore ADR. But lawyers hardly do that. So lawyers will always like to take the brief from you. Because you will mobilize now, you will bring money to open file, and you will mobilize them any court sitting. You will bring transport, you bring appearance fee. All these things is money for them.
And it also stands
yes,
to his
and they know that there are some cases they know from ab initio that is a bad case or is even frivolous, but they won't tell you why not drop this thing, go back and settle with this person. He will encourage you to bring the brief. The judiciary, they should just enlighten people the more on the option of this ADR, because many doesn't actually know about it.
Because when they make complaints of this nature, it will seem that they are quite angry with the public. It's about what the public knows, is what they know they can act upon. But then again, he says so many things in terms of the court cases in relation to election matters. I've observed that sometimes when I say senior persons in the legal sector want to speak about those technicalities, there's always this kind of, would I say, anger or defiance, trying to be defiant to what they call mob opinion. I remember the retired Justice of the Supreme Court, Odili, making reference to that as well during one of those outings. She was referring to Wale Olanipekun that, well, he's a master of electoral matters, that no matter what your people say, these people go and do their work because they understand the law. The CJN also made reference to something about the mob action or the mob opinion is not of importance. What is of importance is the law. I would have thought that during occasions like that, judicial officers should take time to educate Nigerians as to why they have to go, or the court will have to go with technicalities as against the merit of the case. But what you see, sometimes they are chiding Nigerians as if Nigerians actually understand why technicalities have to come before the merit of the case.
Well, most of these things they do is face saving. They do that kind of to create that semblance of that superiority that the courts, they feel that if they come down to some of these things, they will lose their steam in the eyes of the public, which is not so. Every public forum, like you said, should be opportunity to let people realize some of these things. And at the same time also for them to do in-house cleansing. But unfortunately, they don't do that. And at the end of the day, you see them, others also being abandoned tomorrow to give some controversial judgments and damn the consequences, because they feel that the same law also protects them, which is not so. We talked about the restiveness that is growing across different places because of certain judgment. It can consume somebody one day. They should be mindful of that.
All right, I think that will have to do it for us as far as Guardian is concerned. The CJN 6th Amendment to termination of most cases at the Appeal Court. Wonder what you think about that. It's all part of the conversation in reforming the judiciary. But taking a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue to look at the headlines. Gbajabiamila is talking about the pressure on lawmakers when it comes to local government. We'll talk about it when we return.
99.1 FM.
Looking for the best way to start your day? Listen to the Breakfast Diary. A complete diet of news.
Unknown gunmen today attack
Current affairs, newspaper review, society gist, birthday shout-outs.
Happy birthday, babe.
In sports,
Sensational goal!
the Breakfast Diary. Breakfast Diary. 7 o'clock in the morning, weekdays. Exclusive on Udenibo FM.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Right, welcome back. The Breakfast Diary at 99.1 FM. We're keeping tabs on developments in and around the country, making sense of them via the papers. Straight to the next paper with us this morning. It is The Sun, a major focus. Even though the banner headline there has to do with what they termed war in the judiciary, I think PDP stakeholder Bode George was spitting fire as regards what is going on in terms of adjudication of electoral matters. But I think that topic has been quite deliberated upon by different persons, and even this platform. We just finished talking about the judiciary on the Guardian, so we'll just focus on other things. We're going to the legislature now. Collapse of LGAs putting pressure on lawmakers. Gbajabiamila. Collapse of LGAs putting pressure on lawmakers. Gbajabiamila. Former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, has said the collapse of the local government administration across the country was putting pressure on lawmakers. Gbajabiamila, Chief of Staff to President Bola Tinubu, stated this in Abuja at a one-day retreat organized for Chairman and Deputy Chairman of Standing and Special Committees in the House of Representatives yesterday. The former Speaker explained that because of the failure of local government administrations, constituents now look up to their representatives in the Parliament to cater for primary health care, basic education, and provide critical social infrastructure, among others. Well, speaking to the heart of the issue, the fact that certain problems in the society wouldn't have to reach, would I say, the executive before they can be addressed. But here we are, we have the state government or the federal government dealing with things that ordinarily in local government we have to deal with. But Gbajabiamila is saying these things are happening because the LG have become non-functional. I mean, there are different ways to look at it. Do we look at it from the autonomy side, financial autonomy side, or the fact that those people have somewhat become redundant? I don't know, maybe because of lack of monetary or whatever reasons we can give for such anomaly. Comrade.
Well, Gbajabiamila, he spoke the truth, but unfortunately the truth ended up as mere rhetoric. Because as a former legislator and speaker, for that matter, they are the champion of making sure that as lawmakers that the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria is also being implemented. Because yes, the functions of the local government are clearly spelled out in Section 7 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. It's very, very clear. But what do we see? Like he pointed out, state governments taking over fully functions of local government, and local governments being made as appendages, mere appendages. Why is it a difficult thing that implementation of a local government autonomy has remained a mirage? Why is it difficult to the fact that this joint allocation of a thing is still being practiced? You say you are giving a local government about 40 million or more. Sometimes some of them get up to 80 million or more in a month, and you pay this thing in a joint allocation, in a joint account, where the governor will just draw the thing and tell the local government chairman how much is your overhead. Okay, take 5 million, settle your overhead for the month. And before the local government chairman can do anything up to 500,000, he has to get approval of the commissioner and the governor. So who is fooling who? So he pointed it out. Okay, what are the steps they are now taking to right the wrongs?
But
That is the challenge.
they did their best. You remember the Constitution Amendment?
This is the challenge.
The Constitution Amendment